Welcome back. Today we are going to be working on the golf cart. We have a few things to do to this old club car. I got this for free. It had no batteries, nothing worked on it, and I have tested it out to make sure that the drive motors worked and found all the problems. I've ordered all the parts, and now it's time to get this thing running again. So today we're going to be converting it to lithium-ion batteries. We're going to be using some new golf cart specific batteries. So this will be a very similar process to convert any golf cart from a lead acid battery over to a lithium-ion or lithium iron phosphate. So there's a few things that you're going to need in order to do that. Let me show you what we're starting with and a few of the fun little accessories we're going to add to this thing to make it a little more usable. For those of you following along, we have done one other video on this. This is a club car and it's a Precedent model, but Precedent DS I think it is called. It's an older 2002 or 2004, I can't remember. So we need to get it back to functional. So I had thrown a few of these lithium iron phosphate batteries in here, 12 volt batteries, and made a 48 volt bank. This is not the best way to do this, obviously. This was temporary and to test this thing out and make sure it all worked, and it does. So now we're gonna make this a little nicer and put the correct batteries in it. In order to convert a golf cart like this over, you're gonna need some of these golf cart batteries. Now I'm using these Time USB. I've used this brand in the past. These are great batteries. I've had another set of the same brand for years. They've been through a lot and they work great. So it's actually a 51 volt battery. It's for a 48 volt system. This has 100 amp BMS in it. So this is rated for this kind of use. So these actually have the correct BMS in there to run a golf cart, to be that kind of amp draw for that length of time. So if you're really working this thing up a hill, pulling a trailer, all the things that I want to do with it, you could damage the BMS in those batteries. And so that's why we're putting the right ones in there today. So really, other than the batteries, replacing the old lead acid or whatever you have in your golf cart, you take the other old batteries out, obviously, get the correct batteries, and then you're just going to need a charger. This is a smart charger that I got off of Amazon. I'll put a link to this in the description. You can get it in any configuration. So this is the club car type charging port, and so all this does, you just set it to whatever voltage your golf cart is. Ours is it's a 48 volt. Turn it on, and this is a maintainer charger. So this will charge the battery bank, and it will also maintain them. I have a few wires that we're going to be using to connect the batteries together. I think I'm going to use these instead of the ones that I had in there. I've got some extra wire here to hook up some of the accessories that we're going to hook up today. So this thing has nothing. The key thing doesn't work. Obviously we're missing the key, so I installed this quick switch in place of the key. We've got a couple holes here where there were probably like a voltage meter or some other things in here. We're gonna replace these holes, cover those holes with some new accessories. So the first thing we'll use is just this little battery monitor. This just tells you the charge state of the battery. And I also picked this up. This is a little USB charging port. So a lot of times we have our phones with us, we go on golf cart rides, so this will give us a USB-C and a USB-A charging port. And I picked up a couple replacement LED lights. We'll put two of these on the front and one of them in the back. I like to have a work light on the back. And then I grabbed some illuminated switches. So they're push button switches and they light up when it's on and they don't when it's off, so you can easily tell if they're on. So if you're driving around in the daytime, a lot of times in the old golf cart, I would accidentally leave the lights on and it'll drain the battery. So we're going to start by installing the batteries, get that system set up, make sure that the golf cart works and it charges, and it'll do all that first. Then we'll hook up all of our accessories. We'll need to cut some new holes in the dash. We need to put some switches in, hook some wires up. Let's get the old ones out, the new ones in, get it hooked up, see if it works. So because this this whole battery compartment was kind of a mess, I don't have any of the original brackets or anything like that. So I've made a plywood bottom for all these battery section. So there's another spot for a battery right here, and then another spot for a battery over there. And all I did was just take some scrap pieces of plywood so that they have a nice firm spot to sit in. And then this 1x4 is just stretched across from side to side. So if I want to take these batteries out, I can just pop the screw out on each side, and this will come out. So next thing we're gonna do is just get some wiring done. So for the charging system, I didn't do anything. It has a power connector right here. This just goes right back into the original system that was there. This just has a negative terminal here and a positive terminal that will go over there. And then I'm just gonna hook the two together with a couple jumpers. All right, well here we are. We've got the final switches and everything put in. So the little USB, this also gives a voltage as well. So I guess I didn't really have to have both of these, but this one actually tells you temperature, and it also tells you, actually gives you a percentage of the battery capacity. So as this goes down, it'll give you a percentage. So this will help us judge exactly how much juice we have left. This opens up, so it gives you a couple phone chargers in there, which is really handy. A little weather cover on it. I don't really like this. This weather cover is not snapping on there all the way. I wish it would, but it's not too bad. So our battery bank's fully charged at 53 volts right now. Both of these are reading pretty close, so I guess that helps us to get a more accurate measurement. One's reading 0.2, one's reading 0.1. We have the old replacement for the key, because we don't have a key. I like this. This is an old switch I've had laying around, and I like this toggle. It's just kind of a cool on and off. And then we installed the two new lights. So we have one for the rear lights and one for the front lights. And I'll show you those here just a minute, but this is nice. So indicator tells us when those are on and when they're off. So that's the front lights. They didn't fit in these little spots here, and I could have mounted them maybe underneath or something, but I like having the lights up a little bit higher. So this can actually allow me to tilt these out a little bit, where I can get a real nice far angle down the road if it's dark out. So I'll play with that a little bit, but I kind of like that positioning a little bit better. And then we've got the work light up at the top here, which I really like having, especially if I have a trailer or something attached to this. I'm loading wood, especially in the wintertime. Since this has better tires on it, I can get around in the snow. And so I'll use this in the darker months a lot more. So now I have a nice work light on the back. I didn't really show this in the video. I ran the wire just right down the frame here, and then just popped a hole through the body of the golf cart right there, and then that just goes in through my battery compartment and then up to the front. And I did off camera add a third battery. So now we have a full 3 batteries in here. These are all 51 volt golf cart batteries from Time USB. They're wired all in parallel. And then I have my my main leads coming off of one corner positive there, and then back corner negative on this side. And I have my accessories coming off the opposite corners of the bank. So that gives me a total of 90 amp hour capacity total between all of these, which is pretty good. And I can add a fourth one. I've got space in here to add a fourth battery if I wanted to. And probably if I reconfigured everything in here, I could probably get 6 of these batteries in here if I really wanted to. But so the other part of this upgrade is you do need to get an actual lithium iron phosphate battery charger. You can't use the original one if you have it that comes with these old golf carts. So this does fit right into that port. This is for this club car. You can buy this on Amazon, which is where I got this one. But that'll give me an easy plug-in charger for it. And this has different modes, so you can put it up to the fastest charge, which is the 18 amp. I don't know how long it takes to charge this particular battery bank since we just built it. I'd have to test that out down the road. But normally I just leave it on overnight on the 5 amp. That's just kind of where I leave it for trickle charge or maintain, but pushing 55 volts now. These kinds of things are super handy. This was so cheap. All this stuff on Amazon, you know, for boats, RVs, solar setups, all that kind of stuff. These things are just super handy to have. I don't know. I don't think this is right. It's not 82 anywhere. And that's not measuring the battery bank temperature. So I'm not sure what that's measuring. So some golf cart setups, you can actually get a 12 volt converter, and you have a whole 12, all the lights are all 12 volt, you have a whole 12 volt system in here. I chose to obviously disconnect all that. I don't want these old halogen lights. I don't want to use any of the old lights or electronics that are on here. So the entire system is now 48 volts. So these are a 0 to 60 volt light, or 12 to 60 volt light. So it'll handle any of those voltages. This also is specifically for a 48 volt system. This is for a 48 volt system. These switches were rated for, I think, up to 60 volts, so these will work for the system that we have here as well. And then obviously the charger is rated for 48 volts. So everything on this system is all will all stay at 48 volts. All right, I think we're ready to get this thing on the road. I've got a trailer hitch on the back of this. Let's go get the log splitter, pull it up and down the hill a little bit. Let's see how our batteries do. That's a pretty heavy piece of steel. The gas golf cart would not pull this up this hill. Let's go out on the road. Hills in both directions. All right, that was a quarter-mile trip, almost all uphill with the log splitter. Still at 96. All right, let's go up another hill, another quarter-mile in the other direction. See what the voltage is when we get to the steepest part of the hill.
It's no joke, that hill.
It definitely can pull this heavy wood splitter around with no problem up and down the hills. I've gone about 3/4 of a mile here with the trip that I took, almost a mile up and down hills, and we're still at 94%. So batteries are working great, plenty of power to run this thing. And this cart is going to be my new homestead tool. I can haul trailers around with this, small trailers. I can haul yard trailers around. I have some other plans to make this kind of a power center. So stick around for turning this old free golf cart into a homestead powerhouse. There are golf carts that you can find out there all over the place that are dead. They have old lead acid batteries and haven't been maintained. You can pick them up for cheap or free off Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, all kinds of stuff like that. And get yourself some new batteries, a few accessories. You can upgrade that thing for probably under $800 to $1,000. You could have yourself a really useful tool around the homestead. Hopefully this helped inspire somebody to do just that. I'll put a link in the description to all of the stuff that I used here today, especially the Time USB batteries, my new favorite battery company. That have been, I've worked with this company several times in the past, and they have great support, great people, and they have great batteries. We'll see you next time.